All right, so we've discussed a lot around the different storage types that are out there, and we've created blobs and things in the various demonstrations, but how do we control access to them? And the first one I want to bring your attention to is access policy, specifically to the container. And on the container inside of your blob storage, you can set the public access level. Now, the default is private, so this is no anonymous access. Nobody can access your images, etc., when things are set to private. The next one is blob, which I used for some of the demonstrations where we have anonymous read access for blobs only. And the third one is container, where we have public access for the container as a whole. So that's read access for the containers and the blobs. Now, if we go further into this, we can also get a little bit more granular with SAS, which is shared access signatures. We may not want to just generically assign permissions at the container level, so we can use this method, which is a query string that we add onto the URL of a storage resource, and this string informs Azure of what access should be granted. And we'll get a little bit deeper into the shared access signatures and how you construct them in a little while. But to go a little bit further, there's two types. There's account SAS tokens. These are granted at the account level to grant permissions to services within the account. And then there's specific service SAS tokens. These grant access to a specific service within a storage account. And it should be noted that these are all encrypted. They utilize a hash-based message authentication to keep everything nice and secure. So what does a SAS token really look like? And if we break it down, when you copy it from Azure and you say, hey, I want my SAS token, it's going to give you a very long URI. That's a unique resource identifier. And there's a couple of things to keep in mind here. So you've got your storage resource URI. So in my case, I've got slsassdemo.blob.core.windows.net. That's my storage account, my images container, and then image.jpg. That's my specific blob that I'm referencing. And then I have this giant string that's appended to it, which is my SAS token as a whole. And it helps if we go ahead and just break that piece down further. So to begin, let's start with our blob that we know we have. We have our image.jpg. That's the first part of the entire URI. Then we have the storage service version. So this must be set to version 2015-04 for April-05 or later for it to work at the moment. That's the current as of the documentation. And then we have SS equals BFQT. Now, it's very simple actually. If you look at the B, that stands for blob, the F is for file, the Q is for queue, the queue service, and T is for table. So these are the signed services which are accessible with the account SAS. Then we have SRT, in my case, equals SCO. So these are the signed resource types. So the S under SCO stands for service. So this is access to service level APIs. The C is for container, so access to container level APIs. And then finally we have the object itself. So this could be the blob, or in the case of a table, could be the table, could be queue messages, etc. Then we go down a little further and we have signed permissions. So this is a bit of a mouthful here. We've got RWDLACUP. Well, let's break these down. So if we take the R, that's for read. So that allows us to read and essentially have read access to the object. The W is for write access. The D is for delete. The L is for list. A is for add. C is for create. U is for update. And P is for process. That's specific for queue messages. The same for update. That's specific for queue messages. If we go a little further, then we have our signed, expiry, and start. So the SE is the expiration date and time for this SAS, and the ST is the start time. Finally, we got signed protocols. So we're going to say in this case we've got HTTPS as the signed protocol. And finally, as you can see, we have signature, which is SIG equals and then the whole hash that we have after it. And that's really important because this is used to authenticate the request made with the shared access signature. So hopefully you can see, when you look at it as a whole, it's like, oh my God, what am I getting into? But now if you look at it, you can see, okay, this is really just breaking down. These are the permissions. This is kind of identifying what you can do on the object or what I can do on the container. And, the signature is what really authenticates the whole thing at the end. Now you might be thinking, well, that's great, but this could get a little bit cumbersome managing all of these shared access signatures that are out there. And so Azure provides something called stored access policies. And this is a method for control in SaaS. It's group shared access signatures and provides additional restrictions. Now, the good thing is they can be used to change the start time, expiry time, permissions, or you can even revoke it after it has been issued. It is, however, only supported on server SaaS, so for blob containers, file shares, queues, tables, etc., but not on the storage account as a whole. And you'll see how we configure that in the subsequent demonstration. But hopefully overall this gives you an idea of some of the ways you can manage access, but check out the demo and then hopefully that'll kind of solidify the knowledge you need for the exam here.